Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we're going to talk about a budget quad driver in-ear monitor made by TRN, and that's the V10. The TRN V10 quad driver has two dynamics and two balanced armature drivers. Comes in a nice little package and pretty straightforward, simple packaging. You got your earpieces and you have your cable down underneath and then a few silicone tips. Nothing major, along with some paperwork. Pretty straightforward. Now these are budget, and by budget I mean I found them for $10 on Amazon during Black Friday. They can be found for a little bit more than that on some other sites, but Amazon currently has them for $10. They are indeed budget. And for a quad driver, $10. Hey, I thought I'd give it a try. So the earpieces themselves are light. They're not super heavy. They do have quite a bit of bulk to them. They are quite fat. They have a nice design though. They are the transparent see-through. You can look in there and see all the innards. They do have a little bit of branding on the outside. They have a 5mm port. So if you have smaller ears, these can really put some pressure on the hole. And so just bear that in mind. It is a 5mm port, so it's pretty good size. They do have a 2-pin connector. The cable is decent. It's not the greatest, but it is, again, a $10 headphone. Preformed ear hooks, which is a nice touch. Semi stiff. There's your 2-pin connector. They do have the notes of left and right on there, so you can know it easily enough. The microphone is on the right hand side, not the left, and it is the single button. Push it to play pause, hold down for Google Assist or any of the other assistants that you have, double tap for fast next track. Comes down to a nice strain. It has nice strain relief, has a real metal or hard plastic connector, and then it is braided and twisted, and then comes to another strain relief and a plastic connector 3.5. Not a bad cable. It's about 1.2 meters, 48 inches, give or take, somewhere in that range. About just right for portable use, and it's nice and light. It's not super janky. It does get tangled up when you store it a little bit, so you'll have to spend a couple of moments to untangle it every time, but it's not the worst cable in the world. Getting back to the comfort, the silicone tips that come with it, they're not the greatest. They're kind of mushy and flimsy. They don't form a good seal in the ears. You really have to jam them in. And then that's where the problem becomes, because it has a 5mm port, and when it gets in your ear, it puts a lot of pressure right around the hole. And I found these to be extremely uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable earphone I have ever used. They just don't sit right in the ear for me, and I can only do 10-15 minutes and my ears are screaming. I've tried different tips. I've tried foam tips, different silicone tips that fit, and it doesn't matter. It's just too much pressure on the whole part where they go in. And you don't get a good seal. They don't isolate well at all. You can hear everything around you, and their comfort is way on the low list for me. How do they sound? Well, overall, they could mostly be described as neutral and balanced, with one caveat, and that's with very aggressive, overemphasized treble. Change things up a little bit today. We're going to start with soundstage and imaging, and to say that it's underwhelming is pretty accurate. The music always feels like it's coming directly from inside your head. There's not really anything that goes around. I mean, it's a very aggressive, very forward headphone. It's like right here is where it feels. It also can sound somewhat shouty, and it's very confined, very close sound. Does have nice instrument separation though, and that part of it doesn't disappoint. So you can hear all the different instruments and all the different things, but they sound like they're right here. You have a little square box around your head. They feel like they're inside it, but you can hear the differences in the details. Bass is about what you would expect in this price point. It won't blow you away with sub bass extension, but it suffices. It goes down deep. You can get a nice thump to it. They're not bass head headphones, but they have a nice balance to them. And I've never, when I've used these, said, man, I wish I had more bass. So these have a good response to them. The mids are about the same as the bass and the lows. They do achieve a good sense of balance, and it makes it feel natural. You don't get anything like that, but they do have good impact and speed, but they lack details. So they can sound a little flat, a little dull at times. Every now and then they just don't feel engaged with the music. So you can kind of get a little disappointed in the mids. They have nice sound, but they don't have a lot of body to them. They just kind of sound flat. They just feel like they're not there all the time, and it's kind of sad because they have nice sound to them, but they just sound disconnected with the rest of the sound. Treble is the prominent focus of these headphones, and I'm a treble head. I love treble. I like my RHA CL750s, and I like grotto sound. I like treble, but these are too much. It's very prominent. It's very annoying, would be a word that I use. It can have sibilance all over the place. It can have sharpness and harshness. It can have some ringing to it. Instruments that have high frequencies, violins, hand clapping, trumpets, flute. It's very, very sharp and raspy. You can really hear it, and with the bass and the mids where they are and how they complement each other, even though the mids are a little bit lacking in detail, the treble overwhelms them so much that it becomes distracting, and it's really sad because these could be a decent headphone for the price, and that they have quad drivers in them. It could be a real deal, but the deal breaker on these is that treble is just too fatiguing, too intense, and it's always there. So if you're looking for a headphone that has treble and it's smoother and more textured and more detailed, but also has the mids and the bass, I would lean more towards the RHA CL750, the RHA 7 or S500, even the Advanced Sound S2000. If you want to go budget wise, you want to stay in the $10 to $20 budget, the Advanced Sound S2000 is a better deal on these as far as sound. The bass is better on the Advanced. The mids sound a little more natural and are a little more forward and engaging. And the treble reaches high like these do, but it doesn't have that sharpness and sibilance as these do. These are just too much sibilance. So, do I recommend these? For $10, they're not bad if you don't mind treble, if you don't mind a forward aggressive treble. $10, not bad. Would I pay more than that? No. Do I use these on a daily basis? No. I have other ones that are better. So folks, the TRN V10 gets a thumbs down from me. They're too much. Too much treble. Have good sounding bass and nice mids, a little on the flat neutral side, but when you add in that super aggressive treble, it just overpowers it too much. So TRN V10, thumbs down. Maybe you have a different experience, but comfort, not the best. No isolation or very little isolation. Treble, way too aggressive. Mids and bass, smooth and balanced. A little lacking in detail. But thanks for watching. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and I'll catch you on the next video.